name is Kat, and today I will be telling you guys about my March to be read pile, the books I intend to read for the month of March. So for this month, my goal is actually 9 books. I've read 8 books for January, 8 books for February, and for March I need to read 9 to make it 25 books for 3 months, which puts me right on track for the 100 book challenge. So, 9 books in March. Doable. Doable? Doable. I will be starting off the month with a book that was in my February TBR pile that I didn't get the chance to read. And that book is The Archived by Victoria Schwab. This book came out in late January and I wanted to read it in February, but then I shifted my TBR pile around a little bit because I read Legend and then I had to read Prodigy because it's the law, so I did that and it unfortunately left me with not enough time to read The Archived in February. Which is perfectly fine because now Aaliyah finally is getting her copy and we can read it together! Starting tomorrow! How exciting! Next up in my March TBR is my first reread of the year. I read Delirium by Lauren Oliver when it first came out a couple of years ago, and I haven't read the other books in the trilogy, so now that they are both out or about to be out, I want to reread this so I can read the trilogy and like remind myself. So I have the older cover, as you can see, the one that doesn't match, which is frustrating. So yes, I'm going to reread Delirium, and then I'm going to read for the first time Pandemonium by Lauren Oliver, the second book of the trilogy. And after Pandemonium, I'm going to read Requiem, which I do not have because it's not out yet. And that is the final book in the Delirium Trilogy. So after I finish that trilogy, I'm going to start another trilogy that I have been wanting to read for a while, and now the final book is coming out, so I'm going to read it and I'm excited! The Infernal Devices Trilogy, starting with Clockwork Angel by Cassandra Clare, Clockwork Prince, Book 2 in the Infernal Devices Trilogy, and Clockwork Princess, Book 3, which is not out yet but comes out March 19th. So I'll get it next month, but then I'll read it and it'll just be good. Alright, so those are the 7 books I have already selected. We have The Archived, and then the entire Delirium Trilogy, and the entire Infernal Devices Trilogy. And I have to read 9 this month, which means 2 more books! This month I have a little bit of a theme for what's at the top of my TBR pile, and that theme is books that people have been telling me to read and that I still have not read. One book that many people have been telling me to, oh my gosh, Kat, read this already, is The Lightning Thief by Rick Riordan, book number 1 in the Percy Jackson series. I've been intending to read this book for a long time and I really want to read it, so it's just been inching its way up the TBR pile, and maybe March is the month I finally begin this series. Another first book in a series that many people have been encouraging me to read is book 1 in the Morganville Vampire series. I have the first 8 books in this series. I've heard such good things about it and I'm excited to start it. Keeping along with the theme of first books in a series, also keeping along with the vampire theme, we have The Vampire Academy. I have heard many good things about this book and the series and Rochelle Mead as an author, and I have really been intending to start this series any day now. The next 2 books of my possible TBR pile are not specific books necessarily as much as they are authors that I should read but I just haven't read yet, and I have 2 of them. Let's start with Sarah Dessen because I have not read a Sarah Dessen book yet, and I also have not read a contemporary book this year. I actually own 2 Sarah Dessen books, even though I thought I only had Along for the Ride. I thought this was the first Sarah Dessen book that I bought, but it turns out I also had How to Deal, which is actually 2 books, but it was the 2 books that she wrote that were then combined to make the movie How to Deal. So I have these two Sarah Dessen books. These are an option. And this next author that I haven't read yet is a little bit embarrassing, so don't judge me too harshly, but I have never read anything by Jane Austen. I know, I'm a terrible reading person. But I have this giant book of all of Jane Austen's novels. I kind of want to read Pride and Prejudice because of the Lizzie Bennet diaries, which are so good. Should I read something by Jane Austen? And if so, which one should I read? I have all of them. A couple of other options that are near the top of my TBR list from recent book hauls are Flynn Turd by A.G. Howard, which I got in January, I think it was, and Codename Verity by Elizabeth Wayne, which I also got in January. I've heard amazing things about this, even though the whole Nazi World War II thing doesn't sound quite like my kind of book. I've just heard too many good things about this to not read it. So yeah, those are just a couple of other options that I'm considering reading this month for March. I would love to hear what you guys have to suggest for me. Any of the books I mentioned, any of the books you can see on my shelf that maybe I haven't read yet. Anyways, please leave a comment below letting me know which 2 books I should add to the 7 that I have already planned to read. And yeah, March is going to be a great reading month. So that is everything I had for this video today. Thank you very much for watching it. I will have another one up soon, so I will see you then. Okay? Okay. Goodbye!